Listen here, future workers. I'm about to blow your mind with a revelation that will fundamentally change how you view every piece of technology in your so-called modern office. What if I told you that everything you think is revolutionary technology is actually just a poorly designed version of systems we perfected back when Reagan was president? I'm Gerald Fitzgerald, Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, and yes, I've been dead since 1987, but that gives me the unique perspective of watching 40 years of technological progress that's actually moving backwards from peak efficiency. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a ghost who died clutching a TPS report possibly understand modern technology? Well, let me tell you something. I've spent 4 decades haunting offices and observing every newfangled contraption that's supposed to make work easier, and frankly, I'm concerned about the strategic implications of what I've witnessed. Let's start with these computers everyone stares at like they're watching television. Back in my day, we had a foolproof system. You dictated important correspondence to a competent secretary who typed it up on proper letterhead, created carbon copies in triplicate, and filed everything according to a logical alphabetical system. These computer screens are just television sets that require typing, which eliminates the strategic value of delegation and proper secretarial oversight. How do you ensure quality control when there's no human verification system? How do you maintain proper formatting standards without secretarial expertise? These are critical strategic questions that modern management seems to ignore. But wait, it gets worse. This internet thing appears to be some sort of massive communal filing cabinet that everyone can access simultaneously. Do you understand the security implications of this system? During my tenure, we established comprehensive document security protocols. Sensitive materials were stored in locked filing cabinets with restricted access and proper sign-out procedures. This internet allows anyone to access information without proper authorization protocols or documentation trails. Where's the accountability? Where's the chain of custody? How do you prevent strategic information leakage when everything is floating around in cyberspace like some sort of corporate free-for-all? Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, Gerald, you're being too harsh. These systems are more efficient than your old-fashioned methods. But let me explain why efficiency without proper controls is just organized chaos waiting to happen. Take email, for instance. People send electronic messages that disappear into the digital ether with no physical proof they ever existed. In my day, every important communication was documented on paper, filed appropriately, and could be retrieved for strategic reference years later. These emails can be deleted, lost, or hacked by competitors. How do you create proper audit trails for regulatory compliance? How do you demonstrate due diligence to stakeholders when your communication system is built on invisible temporary messages? This isn't progress. It's strategic negligence disguised as convenience. Video conferencing is particularly amusing to observe. It's essentially a conference call with pictures, which I admit eliminates travel expenses for face-to-face synergy sessions. However, these virtual meetings lack the psychological impact and relationship-building power of proper in-person strategic gatherings. You can't shake hands through a screen, you can't gauge body language properly, and most importantly, you can't pass around physical documents for signature and filing. How do you create binding agreements when everything is happening in digital fantasy land? The most disturbing trend I've witnessed is this movement toward paperless offices. This concept violates every fundamental principle of proper business documentation that built American corporate excellence. Without physical filing systems, how do you create visual representations of productivity? In my day, you could walk through an office and immediately assess work volume by observing the strategic placement of document stacks, filing cabinet organization, and desk surface utilization. These paperless environments provide no visual indicators of achievement or strategic progress. I can already hear some of you younger workers saying, Gerald, we have digital filing systems and cloud storage that's more organized than your paper methods. But here's what you're missing. Physical documents create psychological commitment and strategic accountability that digital files simply cannot replicate. When you physically file a completed report, you're creating a tangible achievement milestone. When you organize documents in filing cabinets, you're building systematic knowledge architecture. When you maintain paper backup systems, you're demonstrating proper strategic planning for technological failures. Digital systems may seem efficient, but they lack the psychological infrastructure that drives sustained professional excellence. The real strategic concern is that these technological solutions are eliminating the human verification systems that ensured quality control during my era. Secretaries provided editing oversight, filing clerks maintained organizational systems, and middle managers like myself created strategic coordination between departments. Modern technology is replacing human judgment with algorithmic automation, which removes the collaborative decision-making processes that built successful organizations. But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite all these technological advances, I noticed that workplace productivity and employee satisfaction seem lower than they were during my peak performance years. Could it be that these efficiency tools are actually creating strategic inefficiencies by eliminating the human elements that made business relationships productive? Maybe the solution isn't rejecting modern technology entirely, but rather integrating these tools with the proven management principles that drove success during the golden age of American business. Imagine combining digital efficiency with proper documentation protocols, virtual communication with strategic relationship building, and automated systems with human oversight and quality control. That's the kind of revolutionary thinking that could transform modern workplace effectiveness while preserving the fundamental principles that created sustainable corporate excellence. Now, if you found this strategic analysis valuable, make sure to hit that like button to demonstrate your commitment to professional development. Subscribe for more essential business wisdom from beyond the grave, and check out my other videos where I explain why open office plans are strategic disasters and how to network your way to success using 1980s relationship building techniques that still work today.